Okay, so
And maybe before we start, shall we do a round of applause and just welcome?
yes. Okay, so I'm starting, yeah? Okay, cool.
Hi. So this is our first podcast of Sustain.ALL RHEA Kollektiv, and I'm Sue, and I will be leading the conversation with Kaan today from JAM Bam Kollektiv.
Hello.
And we have here two talented musicians. So first of all, thank you for coming here, and I will ask you, and we will ask you some questions later. But first of all, maybe like, why are we doing this? What's our aim? Also, like recording this as a podcast, because we would like to really share this experience, like this open talk, this conversation, also for the people who can't be here today. So we want to transform the space as like we feel belong to community, and we feel belong to community through music. So this is like our aim of also doing this jam event as like RHEA Kollektiv with the collab with JAM Bam. And so maybe just for the RHEA Kollektiv and Shift Sets, so what we are doing. So RHEA Kollektiv we founded like 4 years ago, and the aim of like bringing different creatives together in different formats like pop-ups, exhibitions, and really acting and transforming different spaces for more impact. And so this is, I think, the way of also transforming more on a sustainable way. So co-creating like different experiences. And so this will be the first podcast also by Shift Set. So this is like the aim of shifting the perspectives. So this is where we are today here, like to shift more and to really bringing like our pain points, what are we actually living through today? And if maybe this is our experience, how we can like transform and shift the perspective also for the others who is living the same pains. So sharing through the collective. And yeah, so maybe I pass it to Kaan.
I mean, if I may jump in, Jam Bam is also shifting the minds. As friends, we have started jamming. And while you jam, you actually transform your friendship, transform your mindset into a different state. And we really enjoyed it. And we decided to come up with a collective to actually give space to people to join, maybe learn, improve their musicality and their skill set, and also become better friends and become a community.
Mhm. Thank you so much. So, okay, let's start like with our questions. First of all, we really want to get to know you, and here there are also like lots of people. It's so amazing to see. And so maybe let's start at the beginning, like maybe how music first find you, and maybe like who are you, Would you like to start?
Start. Sure. Hello there. Thank you for having me. My name is Lela, and I am a drummer mostly. And I work as a session musician. That means basically people ask me all around Berlin, but also like in Germany and yeah, to like play with them if they have their music and they have a concert and they need a band. They ask me, hey, can you like perform those songs? And then usually I have to learn like 10 songs in like 2 rehearsals uh and then like play them on like a stage and stuff. But I really enjoy my work. And besides that, I also have my own trio, like a trio project for which I compose and book and try to get concerts. That is just like starting, kind of just starting, but like I have good. Yeah, I think it's hopefully maybe going somewhere. Let's see.
And I heard you won some prizes.
Yeah, we won some prizes. Yeah, that's true. Like some jazz prizes. Yeah. So your question was, how did music find me, right? So I actually didn't grow up in like in a musical environment that much because like most musicians I talked to, they grew up like with like musical parents and stuff. That didn't really happen to me, but I was very lucky that I had like a good music teacher in school, like just in high school, and he actually got like brought me some like percussion classes and courses, and for some reason to like this playing, actually I just started off with playing djembe and the habuka, And when I did that, I was like, wow, this feels so natural. I want to continue. And then I continued, switched the drum set eventually, and then continued. Yeah, basically. So I was lucky to have a teacher that brought me to this. What about you?
My story is a bit different, and my name is KOOB. I am a singer, and I'm a band leader, and a composer. I also do some session gigs when I am invited. But for me, as a singer, it's very important to kind of make a performance as good as possible and pour everything I can. And it takes a lot of time, to me at least. I very much admire people who can do it in one rehearsal, but I cannot. So I try not to book too many gigs and like not to do it too much. It's too stressful. But from time to time, if the music is good, if it's interesting, and if I have enough time, I also do this. But in general, yes, I band lead my project, and that's where I play the most amount of concerts. Yeah, and the project of mine is more in the genre of avant-garde, jazz, soulful groove, thingy thing. And we play songs that I compose, and they also include a lot of improvisation, but a lot of groove, a lot of tightness, and in my opinion, I don't know. And it's just very interesting. And how music found me, it's I don't know, it's a story. So I come from Belarus, and my parents are absolutely not connected to music in any way. So the most music I was listening to when I was a child was super hardcore radio pop, and it just happened that I could sing. And at the age of 6, I was tested by just giving me some notes, and I had to repeat them, and I could repeat them, and then bam, bam, already in the business. I start my, like, yes, I go to classes and all of this kind of thing. And then, since I was in Belarus, I was not super interested in studying music because, I didn't see any future being a musician in Belarus. And so I had a bachelor in logistics. And I also like worked for 1 year. And then after a year, I was like, okay, I cannot continue like that. And then, since I've been doing music all this time up until my university, I just realized that music is the most interesting thing I can ever do. If I want to escape logistics, because I cannot draw, and like all the other stuff will not work out. And so, I started my musical journey, but it was very long, and I could sing, but it took me very long time to understand how to practice, how to find what is the voice, what is the resonance, so I was kind of like riding the train of natural for a long time until I finally found my great teachers and people who inspired me to go deeper. Mhm.
Okay, so maybe like from the little introduction, like we can move like you were telling about like your journey already. But so like how did you find like this like growth space in your journey so that you can really rely on, okay, this is my thing. I'm gonna do it, no matter what. So what was like the moment for you to jump in and say, okay, like I trust myself, I'm gonna do it. So what was like this moment like for you, like maybe you can tell a bit.
Sure. So I think for me, I think I can say I never really had this moment, because for me, like, to be a musician is always a journey of like ups and downs. And sometimes I feel like I am totally like owning it and rocking it, and I get so many like requests to play concerts, and like my band wins prizes, and like my compositions work out. And then there are like times where nobody wants me, and like I cannot play anywhere, and like the things that I record I feel like sound like shit. And like it's always, I feel like, I don't know if it's like for everyone like this, but for me it's like really extremes, like extreme ups, extreme lows. So in the lows sometimes I'm questioning, is like music the right thing to do for me? In the ups I'm like, yes, I'm so glad I chose music as my path. And I, that keeps on repeating. And I think, I guess with time there comes this kind of certainty, like, okay, well, there are those times and it's just gonna be fine. But like, yeah, mostly I sometimes I doubt myself, sometimes not. I don't know how it's about it.
I definitely can say that it's a thing. It's a very common thing of like extreme ups and lows and like depression and super hard elevation. It's but I guess it's also normal for a lot of people in a lot of careers. But yeah, I realized that I can do music. Like first of all, in Belarus, the culture is not very singy. I would say not very singy and dancey. So it's very kind of like if you have a little bit of musical feeling, you already can do that because not many people will want to do that. So it was like starting as singing, like becoming a singer was pretty easy. For a long, long, long time, I just felt, as I said, that I was doing like, I was not progressing. I was just gaining experience. And of course, there was progress, but I didn't feel it. And then at some point I started just from time to time I started getting this half religious feeling of like when you sing and when you have a concert and everything really works out and then it's like you're like going on a very thin thread and it's very risky but all of this time you're keeping this thread and you're on this thread and you never fall and when you end the concert while having this complete like thread feeling all the time. You have like the hugest endorphin release in your body. It's like, yeah. I can normally barely speak if it's a concert like this. Oh my God. Once my phone was stolen because I was so careless afterwards that I was like, all right, like I was throwing shit everywhere and stuff. But this feeling kind of like this feeling is what very much attracts me and striving for this feeling because it doesn't happen every time it's what it's the progress that I want to have and that's also the kind of the guiding red line of why I want to do music again and again because I know if a concert was like this, I know that the audience also felt it. And that's also, oh my God, it's like half a religious experience. And yeah, I very much, I'm going for it kind of.
Yeah, if I may ask a question. So like one of the guiding questions from like mentors when people are asking their pet, what should I do with my life is like question yourself, like where do you get these wow responses? Wow, you made an amazing dish. Wow, that song was great. Obviously, you're feeling the same thing to push you in that path. But when you don't have that wow, how do you keep going?
Oh, wow. Oh my God. This is, oh my God. Yeah, just like imagine that you're preparing for a big event for let's say ball, and you're like an I don't know like a 18th century debutante, let's say, and you prepared like your best dress and you prepared your best attire or I don't know, and then you have a lot of anticipation. So if a lot of anticipation turns into a lot of joy, that's like the best day and the best week, and then it stays forever. But sometimes a lot of anticipation turns into like a disappointment. And that's the hardest jump, I would say, for me. And it can be like different reasons can be there. For example, since we're improvising a lot, this time we didn't go completely as I wanted, let's say, or we didn't so we didn't kind of like we didn't align fully, because people are different and all of this kind of thing. And or sometimes like the voice does stuff, like it can be like multiple reasons, but you didn't sleep, you didn't do something, you felt sometimes you feel too nervous. I don't know, like stuff happens from time to time. And there is always a chance that your voice decides that today is not the day, girl. Doesn't matter what like. And then of course, as you get more professional and more experience, you kind of work around it, and it will be not like a lost, completely fucked up concert, but you're like, oh. And then when it happens for many like for one time and then maybe one more time, because one time is fine but one more time is not fine, I keep thinking about Simone de Beauvoir, actually, because she was saying like the main skill. Oh no, that was the translator to Simone de Beauvoir book in the very very beginning. I read it recently, and I love both the translator and the author. And she said, like, one of the main things for people and for women to succeed and to be happy in life is resilience. That you have to really be able to bounce back. That it will not always be the fairy tale kind of story where you struggle, and then happiness. It will happen, but eventually. And so I keep thinking about resilience, and I also keep thinking about other people. I think about Robert Habeck sometimes, because like it keeps me going that like there are people who put even more stuff in there, like big campaigns, and like they're full of, I don't know, like they're full of plans, and they want to do something and everything. And no, they also invite a lot of people, and they create like Instagram campaigns, and then it doesn't work out. And then you have to go to America to like teach at a university, instead of becoming the Bundeskanzler. And I think, okay, he's survived, or other like millions of people survive this kind of stuff. I will survive. I will not give up. Yeah.
And even as for sure. Okay. Mm.
I think it's also really important to just like learn to be kind to yourself, and to just like love you, like kind of like unconditionally and detach from like the external factors. Cause like, cause like I didn't start music because I wanted to be like super successful. That was kind of, for me at least, not the main goal. For me, it was like because I love music, and because it's fun to play, and because it's nice to connect with people, and it's really interesting to learn. And it's just like you can just always learn new stuff. Like it never ends basically. And yeah, I don't know, when I'm feeling down, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like leave this like like out like like being successful, or like kind of this like outdoor thing. I'm just gonna leave it for now, and I'm just gonna focus on my own. I'm just gonna, yes, expectations, just gonna be like, I'm just gonna practice some stuff that I really wanted to practice for a long time. I'm just gonna like write new stuff. Like, at least that's kind of like sometimes it doesn't work out also. Like, sometimes I also like feel bad and feel like I'm hitting like some kind of rock bottom. But no, yeah, I
It's
guess
a lot of
that's my point.
maturity.
Yeah.
I admire that. This is
Yeah, thanks for sharing the wisdom. Back to you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so I will actually come maybe to the topic of yeah, I mean, actually, so this is the thing. So why we are like creating the space, also like RHEA Kollektiv, for like the flinter artists. So that's why I want to come back to this topic a bit. Like, so maybe you can give also a bit from your side, how is like being maybe like flinter musician, and maybe what would be your insight, like advice, maybe for the artists which is coming like the newcomers, to the space, and maybe they don't, of course, like experience too much. So maybe you would like to give for them also your perspective and like share from your side.
Sure. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, so I think one thing that happened to me, like being a flinter artist, is like when I get asked for things, or when I get accepted for things, or if I win prizes, sometimes I have this like strong imposter syndrome. I'm like, wait, did I win this prize? Did I like get into this university because like I'm a woman, or because I'm actually like a good player? And this thought sticks with me for some reason. And it's sometimes annoying. And then also, like, I do sometimes get asked for concerts just because I'm a flinter person. So I'm like, well, yeah, I like to do that. I think it's good to represent like flinter like to support flinter projects and stuff. But then at the same time, like, I want to be seen as a musician firstly. So that's why I'm getting kind of like sometimes annoyed with this. But I learned also that, like, a lot of basically a lot of men, like male musicians, get asked for concerts also because they're men, because it's kind of a boys band. It's kind of like the last like bassist they need, and they don't want to have a girl, like they want to have a man, like, and then they ask men. So I think it's fine, because yeah, I think it's fine to, like, at least that's my journey, like, to accept also like flinter concerts, because because it happens on the other side as too, but it's not as like we don't speak about it. It's kind of like the norm, because like the musician world is very based like very masculine, I guess. Especially the jazz world. Yeah, fair. So they don't talk about it, but we talk about it because like we want to be a Flinter band. So and then like yes, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I guess that's my yeah
Um,
take on this.
yeah, that's. First of all, I must tell you honestly that like coming from Belarus, which is much more patriarchal environment, when I came to Germany, I thought I'm like in a feministic paradise, you know? Because no, for real, because in Belarus I had a situation where like some promoter, let's say I want to shake his hand and he's like, I don't shake hands with girls, I only hug. Easy peasy. And then also like oh, the approach and stuff. So, okay, when I came to Germany and everybody shook my hand and it was all like kind of civil, first I was like, oh my God, like what else can you ever want? I was actually seriously struggling in like, what is my discontent? What am I dissatisfied with since it's everything is so much better than it was at home? But then I entered the JIB, the Jazz Institute Berlin, and it was like there was, I think, one instrumentalist girl during my year of entrance, and I was like, okay, maybe the paradise is not like fully working, or it has some places where it's a little bit darker. I don't know. It was a bit weird. But also in Belarus, it's like this, like absolute majority of instrumentalists are male. But then, yeah, and in general, I would say like singer is also a very typical thing for a woman to do in this area. Like also at the JIB, it's more like when I entered, there were like 70 people, out of them 10 women, or like 9 women, and out of them 8 were singers. So yeah, but then I never noticed any like problem or something during the bookings, during the prizes, during the. It was always the communication was very good and in my opinion like very very like non-discriminatory. But I can tell you about my fellow musician experience that I was also observing, where I realized that it's better maybe than Belarus, but it's still very, very fucked up, especially if you're something unusual, like not a singer. Because what she experienced was like we were at this jam and we just won a third place at the prize and we were so happy and cool and stuff. And we're at this jam and there is this drumming legend, right? And this drumming legend is like an elderly. Okay, stop. He's like an older man from the previous generation of jazzers, and everybody looks up to him. He's like number something, like top of the world drummers. Okay, and then everybody wants to impress him. I don't, because I am not interested in jazz, but like so much. But all of my band members are like super interested, and one girl, 2 boys. Oh, we're like rooting for him, like parents a little bit, and then he finishes the song and he gets like, yeah, man, that's really cool. Like some really words of appreciation from the drummer, and of course he's like elated, super happy. Then the bassist plays, and then he also gets like, yeah, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Like, call me someday, sometime, and we can like play a jam, like, or whenever I'm in Berlin, we will play blah. And then the pianist plays. And then she told me that he, at some point, like after the song, he just leaned somewhere near her and he said, you have such a nice back tattoo, like your tattoo. I was looking at it all the time, I was watching it while I was playing. It's such a like a cat, something something, very nice. And I was like, huh? What? Huh? And it was crazy because and she is much more resilient in this kind of stuff because she experienced this more often. And that was a situation where I realized that like on your road as an instrumentalist, the amount of sexism you actually find, first of all, is more than a singer, and second of all, it's very present. So it's not easy. There are barriers. There are reasons why there are not so many women instrumentalists. Getting more and more, thank God. But yeah, that's the story basically.
yeah, also because you ask what I would recommend like young plinter musicians, right? I think like I would say, or what I would have liked to hear when I was also starting off is like, don't like, it's fine to be yourself. Like, just, it's really like, it's kind of easy to say this, but it's really like, you also, as a flinter musician, you have your place in this world, and especially in the music industry, it's not about conformity. Like, you don't have to play like everybody else. You don't have to look like everybody else. Like, you can really be yourself. And even though it's like super scary at first, because you're actually gonna like yeah, auffallen, yeah, not fit. People will reach out to you because you're gonna be like, because nobody's like you. So I think that's a good thing to do.
That's a very good recommendation. I could very much also sign under it. Big signature, because yeah, I would say also that like the people who pose as really cool are not often actually that cool. This is really, really important because you will get people who scoff at you and who pretend that their way of playing or whatever is the way. And a lot of times the fact that you're a woman makes them enables them even further to kind of be super patronizing and super like explaining you stuff and like going for this. And of course then the instinct to fit in, to follow, to be like what you're recommended, what you feel is cool, is really, really strong. But find yourself people who are really interested in the craft and open-minded, and not the coolest ones, because yeah, because it's about developing your craft, your voice. Of course, put effort in your craft, but don't always look at the coolest person in the room and think, oh, that's what I want to be, because a lot of times it's a lie, it's not real.
So maybe I have like the last question since the time is going up. So so this is like the topic of like today's basically a podcast talk is like belonging to music, belonging to community. So my question will be, since like also you're not like born, you were not born in Berlin like me also. So maybe how do you find, like for you as well, like how do you find belonging in Berlin? Maybe do you find it belonging through your music, through your communities? Like what's your like that you feel maybe home?
Also, if I can add, since this is the last question, like a side question on that, like maybe share an experience, maybe like a random serendipitous experience where you found your community while answering it, if there is any.
Okay, while I'll be thinking about the serendipitous experience, I will just talk about community and then give you the word and then come up with something probably. So, because I'm a band leader, I have to be organized. So I arrange. So basically, I feel like, in my personal opinion, the Berlin community is very open and is very welcoming, because people are coming here from all over the world. Nobody is surprised. Nobody is even kind of amazed. Whichever country you come from, they probably have seen somebody from your country already. So it's not like such a big thing. It was a bit harder to enter like the specific German jazz circles, because they are also very much boy circles, and so it's a yeah, it's a skill that I had to I had to learn also, like, because coming from Eastern Europe, for example, Eastern Europeans don't do small talk, they do deep talk. And not many people want this a lot of times at parties. And so that was very interesting to, first of all, find those who want, and second of all, also yeah, kind of like create this skill of like nurture this skill of having interesting talks which are light and jumpy, you know? Not like super like, okay, tell me about your life problems, and also tell me what makes you sad and happy at the same time. And like, but instead to just acquire this skill that Western Europeans are having in great amount, kind of like having a talk for a short time, and then while you're talking, you're not getting emotional with each other. You're kind of creating a talking entity that is, in the best case, interesting. In the worst case, just you talk about weather or like, yeah, and what about you? And then kind of like, yeah, and not to treat it like, oh, there's also shallow, but like more like, yeah, that's a way to create something with a person with whom you maybe will not have such a deep relationship. So that was hard. That was hard. And yeah, but otherwise, I would say um, Berlin is still the city of lonely people, I think, for a lot of like in most cases, in many cases, let's say. And Berlin is a city of busy people, overbooked people, overwhelmed people. So the main way to fit into the community of Berlin for me is to actually establish a better connection with myself and to just like because whenever when I became more accepting of my own like needing to be alone or needing people or like boundaries or not wanting to talk about this, not wanting to do this, the more I became acceptant to people who didn't want to meet today, for example, because they were not in the mood, even though we established it some time ago. And or people who could not come to rehearsals because something. So yeah, the main way to fit in the community was to become an accepting person toward yourself, and then somehow it worked better for me.
Nice. Um, yeah, I feel like I don't have like that much interesting things to add, like because like I really agree with you that so actually before that I was living in Cologne, and there I felt like the jazz scene, the music scene was very coming from a very academic place, from like people studied music, and only if you studied music you would be taken seriously as a player, and people are like, oh, where did you study, who did you study with, and like what kind of books did you check out and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, it's music, it's not about books. It's like not about universities either. It's just like about playing and listening. Well, and then I came to Berlin, and here, like the musicians have such a different kind of backgrounds. Like some people just are self-taught, some people studied, some people learn from like their friends or whatever, or like from the Berlin music scene, and therefore, and then also like multicultural. Like there are so many like uh different ways to learn music. Like not just a westernized like kind of like notes and books, like really there's so many different ways, and therefore I felt much more freedom in like expressing also myself and finding people to play with, because it's just like more diverse. And I I I don't know, but I really like listening to music that is like that comes from people with diverse backgrounds. Like if there's like a group of 5 men that met in their like little hometown and have been playing for like 30 years together, and they play like super fucking good because they studied a lot of things, but they're still like kind of like coming from the same culture, coming from the same background, have been playing for a long time. Then I'm like, I mean, it's interesting to listen to, but it doesn't really touch my soul. Like doesn't really touch me spiritually. But when I'm listening to like bands, different backgrounds, and I feel like they have to work through stuff, and they have problems maybe finding a common voice, maybe have problems like communicating, then there's like some real conversation going on in their music, and that really touches me, and I really like this, and I feel like you can find that in Berlin easily, more easy, I guess. And yeah, and then people are just more chill with music, I feel like, also, like, and then I just, like, meet friends who are just, like, who also talk about their heartbreaks, and then we play together, like, a concert, and I love that because, like, people are vulnerable, so, yeah, so
So do you wanna ask maybe audience for a last question, if you feel like?
So, yeah. Okay. So I would say like, yeah, we open the space, but first of all, thank you so much like for sharing this like open and honest conversation for us and with us. And so now I will like stop maybe like recording. So yeah, we this can record it, but like I will just stop here, so maybe we can open the space. So and but yeah, thank you so much,